Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let's get some energy in here.
I know that's right.
You can tell it's going to be a live session
That's
All right.
fine.
because we are given life and we need to be grateful for having it. So, those that are here and those that are watching on Go Live, welcome to the F.R.E.E. Acronym stands for From Recovery, Emerge Empowered.
That's right.
Free. Say it again. From recovery, emerge empowered. That's what true freedom is. That you're free, you're going through the experience, you are to emerge empowered from them shackles, from that mindset, from that negativity, because from recovery, not regression. Not, we talking about making progress. Recovery says, as I go through this phase, I'm going to be healed. I'm going to be recovered. I'm going to gain my strength. And therefore, you become more empowered.
That's right.
So that's what God of my understanding gave me as the acronym for F.R.E.E. And how did I become free? We're going to talk about that. But this program, this workshop is to introduce to some who are out in the world to show you what people that are in 12-step programs go through and what they use to become empowered to not go back to what led them to recovery in the first place. And so we choose the words 12 recovery principles. And the 12 recovery principles are modeled after the parent 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous. So if you're going to use something, you have to give credit to where you got it from.
Okay.
So nothing is new under the sun is new to me, but you give credit to where you got it from. And so because this is not an NA meeting or AA meeting or a Sex Anonymous or Overeaters, none of that. But they all use the same 12 principles. And so I want to introduce to the world, starting here in the state of Delaware, in each county, one person at a time, about how the 12 recovery principles can help each and every one of you in your lives and in all areas of your life, and also to recognize it in other people too, and to compliment or support them as they journey to empowerment, okay? So the 1212 Corporation is the organization that I've been attending my 12-step meetings for the last 30 years. And the 1212 is a safe haven for people that are in recovery, their family members as well, to come to a safe haven after they go to a meeting, after they went to work, after they went to the prison, after they went to court, to come back to a place where there's no judgment, there's no criticism, there's peer support, there's a recovery coach, just to help you transition from that anxiety, that tension, that stress before you take it home, before you go back to work. So this safe haven at the 1212 Corporation allows us to kind of desensitize, okay, to woosah, okay, and that safe haven has helped thousands of people over the years. Yes, ma'am.
Is it good for a person in the 12 steps to have a coach? Do they necessarily have to have a coach?
Mm-hmm. Well, those are one of the questions that is going to be answered in this presentation.
Okay.
Yes, but thank you for the question, and I'll make sure when we get to it, I will emphasize it even more.
Okay.
But I'm glad your mind is starting to think, you know what I mean? And so the whole idea of having a safe haven is like some people go to church, some people go out to dinner, some people do something to kind of, relax and, and to kind of get it together before they meet the challenge. And so this recovery safe haven, they're all around the world, really, and helps people in recovery, regardless of what you're in recovery for. You better believe that you're going to be able to identify and relate to somebody there. But just being in an atmosphere of a place where you're not going to be judged, you're not going to be criticized. Somebody may ask you, Can I get you a cup of tea? Would you like to sit in the meditation room? Would you like to come into this meeting? Would you like to go in this room and throw the ball up against the wall 20 times, Or would you like to just sing a song? Would you like to play the piano? Anything to Wusa. Wusa. So the 1212 Corporation is a nonprofit, has been in existence since 1966. And believe it or not, people think the 1212 was named after the 12 steps and 12 tradition, and it's not. It's the original address of the nonprofit organization at 1212 Market Street until we moved to our final home at 2700 Market Street to 2700 Washington Street. Okay, so we're here supporting the 1212 Corporation. I am the presenter for this workshop. And as you can see in the circle, there are different things. A lot of people want to emphasize that the 12 steps are just for those in alcoholism or drug addiction. Well, it's not. Because if we learn anything in our 12-step program, the alcohol and the drug was just an external symptom of a deeper issues.
Right.
And so not only do people pick up alcohol and drugs, they pick up sex, they pick up work, they pick up men, they pick up women, they pick up violence, they pick up, abuse, they pick up work. So everyone is trying to go externally to pick up something rather than deal with the issues that are making them do that. And so one of the things that we want to present to you, that no matter what the situation is, how can these 12 recovery principles help me? Okay? And so as you can see, the theme of it is all humans are ill to some extent. There's no perfect human being on this earth. So you better believe we are ill to some extent. Maybe in some areas different from others, some degrees different from others, but all is a powerful word. All are ill to some extent. And we believe that the 12 recovery principles can be applied to all human beings in the way they navigate their life and interaction with other people, instead of using negative devices, negative crutches, to learn how to transition that into something positive and constructive that can empower you and not depower you. Okay? So, let's go to the next one. So again, we talked about these are the 12 recovery principles, free from recovery, emerging power. My name is Edwina Bell. I'm a doctoral candidate. This had 30 years of recovery, and it's modeled after the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. So who is Edwina Clinton Hall? And guess what? Dockery, Bell, Mitchell, and if I get married again, I don't know who that's gonna be, right? You practice till you get it right? But I was born Edwina Clinton Hall, and the reason why I put my names up there is going back to those inner issues, looking for daddy in all the wrong places, because all of those men that I married were older than me. And so the question mark and the funny face was like, okay, you gonna do it again? Yeah. But this time, because of the 12 recovery principles, my motives are different for doing it. It's not what Edwina wants, it's what my God, who I serve, wants for me, and how he's going to prepare me if he chooses that I need another husband, okay? Because we know that relationship takes time, okay? So right now, I'm in a relationship with me and my God. Yes, okay. But recovery principles taught me how to do that without being lonely, but alone, okay? And so, just to get them an update, 30 years of drugs, mental illness, cancer, domestic violence, suicide attempts, rape, and the lifestyle. But guess what? I went in with the drug and alcohol problem, but as I learned and applied the 12 recovery principles, I needed to recover from all that stuff too. because that's what some of the things that was making me, contributing to me picking up. Yes, yes. So I am a product of what I'm presenting to you, okay? And so I'm presently getting a doctor of ministry in biblical studies, and I'll tell you about that. I'm a member of Canaan Baptist Church, where Christopher Allen Bullock resides. I'm a speaker, presenter, facilitator, recovery coach. I'm even an actress and a model. Who would ever thought, right? But God. I have a talk show for the last 25 years on Channel 28 called Choosing a New Way of Life. I'm the proud mother of Dr. Dwight Dockery, my daughter Kenesha Dockery. She's the CEO of her own construction company and a high-level inspector for license and inspection for the city of Philadelphia. I am the proud mother of 7 living grandchildren, one who has transitioned. But the most rewarding benefit of these recovery principles is this last statement. I was able to be prepared to take care of 7 family members on hospice, 3 at one time. These were some of the same family members that prayed for me, that helped me, that tried to guide me, that were giving what God thought they needed to have me learn from them to do. And for whatever reason, they eventually had to let go and let God. But he prepared me through these recovery principles to prepare for things yet to come. That's what the recovery principles do. Prepare you for things yet to come. Every morning we are dealt a hand of cards, and we do not know what's under that hand. And if y'all poker players, or tonk, or pity pack, or whatever y'all call them, what is it? Bid whist. What do the other people use? Bridge. Yeah, I can't figure about those people. It's all human beings, right? And but we never know what hands we are dealt. Nobody.
Right.
And so the question becomes, we are so used to being creatures of habit that whatever we are dealt with, whether it's joyous, disappointing, hurtful, we always, in most cases, look for external gratification, external solutions, something to take over, something to calm me down, something to make me forget, something, you know what I mean? We're always looking externally. And so we always go back to what we were used to. And so we're going to show in the 12 recovery principles how those habits, which we thought were good and manageable, turned against us, to the point where we had to learn something different if we were willing. Okay? So being prepared for things yet to come can be applied to anyone's life. And what hand you're going to be dealt with, it depends on which principles, which spirits, which guidelines you're going to follow. The old or learning the new. Okay? Now, this is my book as it was written. Okay? And what word is spelled wrong?
Written.
And why do you think it's spelled wrong?
Based on the Webster Dictionary, it's spelled wrong, but I guess the I stands for something. I would say it's internal.
Okay. Good point. As it, and what's the key word? Was.
Past tense.
Was. As it was written. So I wrote this book almost 30 years ago. And it was my journal that I kept the first 4 years in recovery. Where so, because of the issues that I had yet to learn to deal with, and because of the external solutions I sought, right, allowed me to become sickened and seek recovery. And so when they recommended in these 12 recovery principles to say, start keeping a journal. Because guess what? When we go to the therapist, some of us lie. When we go to counseling, some of us lie. You don't know me. You just met me. How am I going to tell you about me? You don't, look. So I want to tell you what I think you want to hear so I can get up out of here. You know? So when do we become true to ourselves? So when they suggested I keep a journal, I kept a journal for 4 years off and on, talking about the world that I had left and how it was trying to call me back, and the triggers and the temptations and the setups and all of that stuff. And then I wrote about how can I live without it, about, you know, birthdays, funerals. I mean, how am I going to deal? They say, give us this day your daily bread. Never understood the concept until I worked the 12 recovery principles. So I kept a daily journal. And so with the infusion of all that stuff and not dealing with the issues inside, I forgot how to spell. I couldn't even spell the word how one time. I was like, how in the world you spell how?
Sometimes those little,
I'm just saying.
those little words get tricky. It happens, yes.
I forgot how to read because the drugs and alcohol eat up the membranes and stuff, right? It's like my brain had to be retrained, right? And so they say in recovery, and back in our ancestors' days, or back in the days, how did they sign their names? So we don't care how you write it, just get it out of here and onto the paper. And so that's why it's called As It Was Written. And the journal has every run-in sentence, misspelled words, punctuations, run-on sentences, all that. Because that's the way it was written. That's where I was. But I was able to get that feeling out. I was able to express my thoughts, my behaviors, my attitudes as I was transitioning in that world I left, but fearful of going forward, but how to take our daily bread. And when I say everything is in there,
Everything.
I just didn't know God was going to publish it years later. But that's okay. Because through the recovery principles, I was able to be transparent. And he was able to say, Edwina, the truth will set you free. The truth will empower other people. And so, as it was written, so from henceforth, this day, I suggest that y'all begin to keep a journal. Just from this classroom alone, workshop alone. She told me to keep a journal. Here it goes. That's good. Next day you might write 2 sentences, or 2 days later you might write a paragraph, and next week you might write. But again, because eventually it's going to become your reference book. Do you hear me? It's going to become your reference book. And so, as it was written, is my journey, 4-year journal entries from drugs, alcohol, mental illness, crime, prostitution, murder, homelessness. So you say murder? Yes. As a prostitute, I had an abortion, and I consider that murder.
Amen.
And it took me 10 years until I got in recovery and started applying these 12 recovery principles that I learned how to forgive myself, and that this God that I didn't know nothing about had already forgiven me. Yeah. But I didn't know that. And so in my journal, I'm talking about all this stuff, you know, because I don't know. And so homelessness, the whole 9 yards. Okay. There's a book in each and every one of us. Everybody has a story. If you can't write it, if you don't want to do a journal by writing, talking to your phone, talking to a tape recorder. Get the Dragon software and let it type as you speak it into the computer. Yes. So this is the last day I got high was on February the 22nd of 1990 underneath a parked car. Okay? You see the pictures before, during, and after. Whenever we're in the recovery process, whatever you're going through, whether it be cancer, domestic violence, you were somebody before all that stuff happened. Who were you? What was the makeup? What aspiration, what dreams, what goals did you have? Right? And then somehow you got caught up. That's Doran. That's me in the middle. I was out there for 14 years. Yes. the whole 9 yards that go with trying to camouflage me getting high and making excuses and justifying and rationalizing that you're going to judge me, you're going to criticize me, and all of that kind of stuff. That I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Whatever happens to me, I deserve it. That's how we feel. And then some of us with other issues, why me? Why did I get it? Why is he beating me? Why did he rape her? Why did he molest her? Why? That, what did I do? And that stuff begins to doing. And so we think we're dealing with it, but how are we dealing with it? The way we used to deal with things? And we're digging ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper. To the point where we'll come to the realization, and I often say through humiliation comes humility. I believe that. Because as long as I think I'm doing it, as long as I think I got the power, as long as I think it's me, as long as I think I can do it, I can change me, self-will says go right ahead. Keep on. Keep on. And you're going deeper and deeper and deeper until you come to such a point, like I did, and place myself underneath a parked car at 3 o'clock in the morning after getting high with my stepson. I only weighed 90 pounds then. Can y'all imagine? And guess what? When we talk about the where all that stuff started and the formulation stages and all, when I was running from him after we getting high doing all kinds of sex things with, because he was my age, because his father was one of the older men that married me, that he proceeded to transform as I transformed under the influence to want to beat me up like any bee in the street. And I ran from him. And as I was running, I saw the bottom of the parked car and a flashback from my childhood came. If I get underneath the bed, they can't get to me. If I get underneath the bed, I'll be safe. It's amazing how those things from your past come to the forefront in that fight, flight, or freeze type of thing, And when I saw the car, if I get underneath the car, he can't get to me. And I'm telling you, whatever that bottom is, whether it's domestic violence or substance abuse or mental illness or rape, once you get to the point where, and this is after trying to commit suicide a couple times. I'll make you laugh for a minute. I thought I wanted to die, right? I lay in the bed, took these pills, Lord, take me. I'm ready to go. Honey, that darkness started coming. I said, where the phone? 911. 911. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Help me. Yeah. Because we really don't want to die.
No. That's right.
You understand? We really don't want to die. So even after all those things that I can handle, I can do, that underneath that parked car is when all that flashed before me. And I hollered out to a God that I heard about, didn't know. Because I was taught he was a punishing God. You do bad things, you're going to get it. Yeah. My mom said I was bad from the womb. Yeah. I was ornery from the womb, right? So that was out there. But my cry was, and this is what everybody's cry eventually have to be to come out of whatever is holding them in bondage. Whatever have them locked up. That whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. And because he didn't snap me out like he did, some walked on water, some came back from the dead, so they say all this stuff. Well, whoever they say, y'all do that to me right now, because I don't want to live one more second of this. And because he didn't, this time, in the final time, I came into recovery like this. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. Wherever you tell me to go, I'm going to go. No matter how long it takes, that's how long it takes. In hindsight, I was given a made-up mind. Because the one who created us all, I believe, has reserved a spot in each and every one of us. That he's the giver or taker of life. You may destroy the vehicle, but the spirit is not yours to give it to.
That's right.
I didn't know none of this. Okay? But I'm walking on that faith. I'm stepping out on faith because he didn't take me out. So he introduced me to a 12 recovery principle program. Since you asked me to show you a better way, I'm going to show you a better way. Okay? So let's get to the crux of it. I went back to school at age 43. I got my thesis. I went to Lincoln, and my thesis was on how to empower other employees to be the liaison of co-workers who have drug and mental illness addiction, rather than get fired, get help. Now, my journal was on addiction and recovery, right? My thesis is on addiction and recovery. So now I'm starting to see something like, was I prepared to do this? I didn't think I could write a book. You know? I didn't think I had that information in me. I didn't think I was a public speaker. I didn't think I could do this. Recovery, being prepared for things yet to come. See? So when you are set on a pathway with these 12 recovery principles, you are going to be prepared for what your destiny and your purpose for you have been given. Okay? So that's my goal. And when I do my my dissertation is already done. And I could turn it in anytime I get ready, but I told the professor, I didn't come to graduate. I didn't come to get a degree. I want to stay in this thing. Yeah. I want to keep learning about that power that got me from underneath that car that no human power could do. So if you're messing with cancer, domestic violence, whatever, no human power has it. We are unlimited. You hear me? So it has to be something greater than us.
That's right.
It says in our recovery, no human power could relieve it. That this God, this creator, whoever you identify him, could and would if he were sought. And the 12 recovery principles help you to learn what that process is. So I'm not talking about religion. I'm not at all. Donald Lawrence got this song says, and the line says, you are not a natural being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being living this natural experience. This is just the vehicle that the spirits work through. We are a living soul, but the different spirits work through this vehicle. So I want to learn some recovery principles that's going to help me live a more purposeful and meaningful life than the road I was going down. Real simple, okay? So I wrote articles for the News Journal, all about addiction and recovery. With help, life goals are attainable. What's the key word there?
Attainable.
No. Help. With help. Anything after that is whatever. With help. I'm no longer thinking I'm doing it. I'm no longer thinking I'm the one in control. With help. Yes. Anything and everything is possible. Ending addiction requires real desire. Ending domestic violence. Ending substance abuse. Ending this cancer thing. Ending this. Ending diabetes. You have some control. And I don't mean trying to control it, but trying to control how you respond to whatever it is. With the help that's available. Get that? Yeah. We're going to help you do this. We're going to do this together. You are not alone. Yes. So, but you have to have the desire. Do you hear me? The desire to want to live more so than die. And some people have the desire to die more than they want to live.
Yes.
So which one are you? Which one are you going to embark and embrace on taking these 12 recovery principles to help you in not just one area, but all areas of your life? So you can become a whole person. Not fragmented. Because it works in all your affairs, because what you're doing is emptying out this trash can. That stinky stuff. Because you have some good in you. I have some good in me. But it's camouflaged and stacked up with all that lucky stuff. But the recovery principle says you're still going to be a trash can, but we got a vent at the end that as you dump it, it comes out. Dump it, don't have a chance to build up. Yes, because you're constantly emptying it because the recovery program tells you to do that. Don't go to bed with nothing on your mind. You hurt somebody, say I'm sorry. So if you go to bed and you didn't sleep, now you know why you didn't sleep. Say I'm sorry in the morning. Don't go 2, 3, 4 nights. Recovery teach how to do that. Not for them. For themselves. Okay. All right. So no longer homeless, physical. These are all the articles. I didn't know I didn't know this. I didn't know that he would prepare me to do this. Why? On the life that I went through and endured. He helped me. Right? Okay. All right. This is the last one, I believe. Police prostitution suite ends with a talk of hope. Newcastle County Police. Read my stories, heard about me on TV, radio, and whatnot. Okay. Well, we having a prostitution sting. We're going to lock up the Johns as well as the Tricks. And we got to do what we got to do because we're the law. But we want to give them some hope. Would you mind, Edwina, coming in? Once we book them, we'll send them back to you just to give them some encouragement. Let them know where help is available. Can you do that for us? I said yes. Who would have ever thought that the police department will seek out somebody like me, to come and help with somebody who's going through. They got to do their job, but they want that person to get help. Right. You hear me?
Give you encouragement.
Yes.
For your own self.
Yes, because they in it. But you still got to do your job. But let me pull somebody in who has went through what you're going through. Yeah. To let you know you don't have to live like that no more. You don't have to do that. Even if you're not ready, let me plant the seed.
Amen.
That's it. That's it.
So whether it's domestic violence, whether it's cancer, diabetes, whatever, you can be used through these 12 recovery principles, not only to help you, but to help what? Somebody else.
That's right.
He don't want you to be selfish with it. Stingy, self-centered, no. Just like somebody was there for you, you need to be there for somebody. Right. You are being prepared to help somebody else. Amen. Do you hear me? Yeah. Deal with the ills of the world. Deal with all that stuff that we have no control over. But what we have control over is the way we respond to things, opposed to the way we used to react to things. So recovery principles teach you how to respond instead of react. Okay? But you never know who's going to use you, right? That's right. So I go around the country and I share, As y'all can see, I practice honesty on a daily basis. Did I say total honesty? Now watch this. Who in this room is honest 100% all the time? Raise your hand. I'm ignore her. Because guess what? We are not.
That's right.
Because the moment we think we have arrived, then we don't need to help. The moment we think we are in control, there's nothing for us to work towards. The moment we think we got it, we're going to be challenged. And I always tell people, Be careful what you say you're going to do in any situation because you don't. You don't. You don't. So, to thy own self be true. The reason why I'm doing this workshop, because I've learned the value of telling myself the truth. When I tell myself the truth, the sooner I can get better. The longer I lie, the longer I stay sick. So the recovery principles help us to learn how to be true to ourselves. Each and every one of us has a pattern, has a pathway, but we wind up in the same room. Isn't that something? So when we go to share your honesty, we begin to see there's some similarities and not really a whole lot of differences, because they say there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. It becomes new to me, because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. In the meantime, we are trying to be the student and the teacher and the counselor and the therapist. We're having this conversation in our own head, answering our own questions, and then they want to think you cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Because this is what one person did to me regarding the 12 recovery principles. When they asked me, during that time I was in rehab, Edwina, they call you the Miss Junior Therapist. You got all the answers for everybody else. Nobody can tell you nothing. Huh? I don't care if it's domestic violence, substance abuse, mental illness. She said, do me a favor. Tell us what happens to you every time you do whatever. But at any time you make that choice, what is your pattern? If you're, domestic violence, he hit me, but I go back. He hit me, I think he's going to change. He hit me, it wasn't that hard, So what is your pattern? You're drinking, you're substituting alcohol for beer to near beer to just fizzle beer. I don't know. What is your pattern? What happens to you every time you make that choice? Since we can't tell you about you, you tell us about you. And she put me on the spot. Each and every one of us have, whatever got you in bondage, whatever got you trapped, whatever got you shingled, you have a pattern. Old, familiar, comfort, safe, that we thought we have a pattern. After I said my pattern, she said, Alina, do you think you're powerless now over that? And you know what I said? I said, I'm going to say darn right. I'm trying not to cuss, okay? You darn right. But that ain't the word I use. I use that word. But I'm learning to do something different today. So you darn right. I heard myself tell myself the truth. They didn't tell me because I didn't think y'all knew about me. But when I told myself the truth, I heard myself tell myself the truth. That pattern was going to happen 99.9.5% all the time. It's going to happen. So if I pick up the day of tomorrow, if I go back the day of tomorrow, if I do that, it's going to happen again. May not be right away, but eventually it will happen again. So she said, this is what I'm going to talk about with the steps, the principle. She said, put your hand in front of your face. What do you see? I said, I see my hand. Edwina, what do you see? I was like, I see my hand. Edwina, what do you? I said, Dad, I see my hand. She said, Edwina, that's the point. All you know is what you know. All you see is what you see. It's all about you. She said, as long as you have your hand in front of your face, you will never get the help that you need. Put your hand down and let the 8 of us tell you what we see. The light bulb went off. As long as I had my hand up, I wouldn't let you in, God in, nobody in, because it's all about me. Yeah. Put your hand down. And already, y'all have a visual of me or an opinion of me already. You know, maybe a couple times. You already formulated an opinion or something, you know what I mean? Just that quick. That's just the way the nature works, right? But as long as I had my hand up, I wasn't getting the help, y'all. So I put my hand down and I became receptive to what y'all see in me that I was no longer to see in me, that I didn't even believe that was in me. So those 12 recovery principles prepare you for things yet to come. Whatever it is, right? But to thy own self be true. If you're not honest with yourself, they already know. You know, whoever you call or whatever they create, you already know. So I have this thing of just being honest. Because the sooner I'm honest, the sooner I get better. Not for you, but for me. Okay? All right. So, to thy own self be true. This is the beginning. Okay? To thy own self be true. So the question should not be, as often of us have heard and have even said to ourselves and to people, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Why am I so stupid? Why am I so dumb? What's wrong with you? Why you can't, you educated, you this, why you can't get it together? What's wrong with you? And nobody is harder on themselves but themselves. We can hear everything else, but when you tell yourself those things, you may hear it, but you begin to believe it, and you begin to tell yourself those things. So the question shouldn't be, and I do counseling and therapy, you know, I go to colleges and I talk to whatever. Don't ask that question. If you want to find out something about something or somebody, ask, what happened to them? What happened to me? Tell me the story of how you became this person. Tell me what happened that you became an introvert. Tell me what happened that you became promiscuous. Tell me what happened that you sought this and you sought that. Tell me what happened. Because in the 12 recovery principles, we're trying to understand and to be understood. It's not about me. It's trying to understand you. I wanted to understand my parents. I wanted to understand my siblings. I wanted to look, tell me what happened, Dad, that you became a womanizer. Mom, what happened that you allowed Daddy to beat you and beat us too? What happened? So I can stop holding you hostage or blaming you, having resentment. What happened? So the 12 recovery principles do that. Mm-hmm. That me, y'all. That me when I 5. That me when I 5. But I want to know what happened to that little girl. At 5 years old, what happened to make her wind up underneath that parked car at the age of 34, after being raped, suicide attempts, all that stuff, spit on, called all kinds of names. Yes, molested, all that. What happened to her at age 34 that I'm underneath this parked car, 3 o'clock in the morning in the streets of Philadelphia? What happened? What happened to you to make you the way you are? What happened to you? Your mindset, your attitudes, your ideas, and behaviors. We go back to the formulation stages of when these things were ingrained in us, shown us. We were labeled by. Yes. So 12 recovery principles help us to go all the way back. Not to judge us or criticize us, but to get more information of what happened. What happened? Okay. All right, so before we start the 12 recovery principles, again, if you just came in, welcome. And as you can see, we're right in it. And in most cases, y'all didn't wait till the party started. We started the party without you. So we started the room, we started the workshop without you. But you'll catch up real quick. So, these 12 recovery principles modeled after 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I believe in giving credit to where credit is due. This information is not new, but it's customized to expose the general public that they can use the same recovery principles to help them with other issues. So, I like to do things in a backward sense. Because, you know, I wasn't a beach, what's it called? babies that born with the feet first. What you call them? Breech. I wasn't a breech baby. You know, but sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes in my mind, it helps me to understand better. So let me try something. What in your life has made your life unmanageable? What in your life has made your life unmanageable? For me, it was the drinking and the drugging. That made my life unmanageable. I wasn't going to work. I was a social drinker at first. I thought I could handle it. Little by little, my life became unmanageable. Didn't want to say that it was that, but the evidence saying that, Edwina, you're out of control. Edwina, you're unmanageable. So I don't know what it is for you, but sometimes when we ask the question backwards, how is your life unmanageable and what is causing it? How is your life unmanageable and what is the cause or causes? So when we're able to look at the unmanageability, I can say, wow, it wasn't my thoughts, it wasn't my behaviors, it wasn't this, it was me, it was this substance. Huh? But the substance is only the end result of deeper issues. So I need to admit that this drink is what's causing my life unmanageable right now. That's the forefront. That's what's evident. That's like right here. Let me put this down. Let me admit that it's causing my life to be unmanageable. Because if I don't do that, ain't no sense in going further. This is the only principle that needs to be done 100%. Because it may take you a process to get there, but once you get there and you know you're there, you have a made-up mind. Because you have been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this situation is one of the causes to my unmanageability. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Once I put that down, or whatever that is, that man, that woman, that car, that work, whatever, once I put that down, then I can look at what made me pick up that drink, that man, that woman, that work in the first place. Which is why this has to be done 100%. Okay. And it may take time. So, admit means confess to be true. What did I say? To thy own self be true? But how many of us lied to ourselves? How many told us, Edwina, you don't need to go back to that man. Edwina, you don't need to, try your own remedy. You need to get help for your cancer. You need to get help for the suicide attempts. No. I can deal with it. Yes. Keep on dealing with it by yourself. And you'll wind up by yourself. So admit it. Confess to be true or to be the case, typically, what? With reluctance. Can I ask a question? Who in here would love to be totally honest all the time? I would love it. I would want it. I would want that. I would want that. I would want to be able to tell the truth all the time in every case. That's what I desire. That's what I want. Yes, I would love that. Because how do you feel if somebody lied to you? How would you feel? So if you don't want people to lie to you, don't lie to them. So I would want that. Okay? But reluctance, what keeps us from wanting to tell the truth? The obvious. Go ahead, say it.
You don't know how people gonna take it.
Yes.
People can't accept the truth.
Yes. Come on, what else?
I'm thinking about something that says truth not at all times, lie none at all. And so my thought is, if I tell the truth all the time, I'm going to hurt a lot of folks' feelings.
Exactly.
What would hurt them worse, a lie or the truth? What would hurt them the most, a lie or the truth? You got to answer that. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, tell me you. How would you feel if somebody lied to you based on them thinking they're going to hurt you? Would you rather want the truth or the lie?
I think I get that a lot. I think we get a lot of lies all the time, but I think the truth has to be within me to some degree. I have to feel more sure about myself, you know, and not totally rely upon what other folks say.
Yeah. So you get my drift, right? Huh? You get my drift. But I will want to live in a world, I mean, it's not reality, but I will want it. So if they can't be, then I desire to be. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And we got a 12 recovery principle that talks about when and how to do it. It doesn't excuse you from lying.
So you can be truthful to a person regardless of how it may hurt them, or you should just be truthful to them regardless of how it would hurt them.
And we're going to cover that because there's a principle for that. Okay? There's a principle for that. But thank you for asking, because we're going to learn how to do that. Remember, we're talking about recovery. We're talking about from recovery emerge empowered. Keep lying, keep being deceitful is not being empowered. It's not. It's not. Either you're going to be empowered or you're not. I don't care if you call it gray area, straddling the fence, it's either yes or no. But the 12 recovery principles will tell us and show us how to do it in the appropriate way that won't hurt you or other people. Okay? So, what are you powerless over? What do you think you're powerless over? Just throw out a couple of things. That has made your life unmanageable. Food. Anybody else powerless over anything in their life that has made their life unmanageable? What is it, sir?
Yeah, drugs, alcohol.
Okay, good.
Drugs.
Ma'am, if I may ask, if you care to share, what do you think you're powerless over that has made your life unmanageable?
Alcohol,
Okay.
drugs,
Yes.
food, cancer, sometimes my emotions.
What about you? Huh? Fear.
Fear.
What about you?
Other people, I can't get
Yes.
them to do what I want them to do.
Yes.
I must be powerless.
Yes. Okay? So listen, I'm glad that everybody in this room, to some degree, recognize their powerlessness over something. Over something.
How about your own life?
Something. Based on what? The decisions you made, the choices you made, the contributions and the impact of other people in your life. All those things. Huh? And so, it has, in what ways, made your life unmanageable? You don't want to get up. You don't want to go to work. You want to stay in the bed. You want to act out. You want to get drunk. You want to have sex all the time. You want to die. You want to beat somebody up. You want to kick the dog. You know, you want to just be a pain in the behind. You just, because you failed to admit your powerlessness. And that this thing is making you crazy because you have no control over it. But the person in a domestic violence situation, that person thinks they have control over that person. And that person begins to believe that. The alcoholic, drug addict thinks that I have power over that drug and alcohol. In reality, it has power over you. Because it got you doing things, saying things, being in fear, not ready to leave, eating everything, whatever. If you look at the behavior, not this, we can talk a good game. Behavior speaks value. So if you ever want to see unmanageability in your life, look at what's happening around you and not what you're saying. Okay? How, and keep me abreast of the time. What time is it? 20 after what?
3.
Oh, low. All right. So how and in what ways have your life become unmanageable? Bam. I'm a seed planter, y'all, okay? I'm just planting seeds, okay? So do you think you can ever, this is the question. Once you admit that you were powerless over something, could you ever regain power? Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, think about that again. Read that question again.
Do you think you can?
Do you think you can ever regain power over something you were powerless over? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Convince me. How? Give me some examples.
The 12 steps and the prayers.
Okay. The people in your life, will you ever be able to control them?
No.
Can you gain power over them again?
No.
Sometimes you have to let people go.
Okay. But so what I'm saying is we gain power over that situation or that person. Can you ever gain power over them again? Or that again?
No.
That's the question. Can you regain power over that which have made your life unmanageable? Can you gain power over that again?
Yes. Because if you eliminate somebody out of your life, you no longer have to deal with them. You're just dealing within yourself, dealing with dealing with you. You're eliminating that
Okay,
person.
that's fine. But that's not what the question says. The question says if that person stayed in your life, can you ever regain power over that person?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens through the 12
If
recovery
they
principles.
stayed in your life.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. All right. So look at this, y'all. Recovery principle number 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Does sanity mean I'm crazy? No. Sanity really means being restored to soundness of mind. Right? So look at what you were powerless over, right? In the first step. You totally admitted it and your life became unmanageable. Now that you're getting help, okay, what's a power greater than you to help restore you to get rid of that person or to put down the drink or drug or to stop going back to stop worrying? What's a power greater than you? Can you name some examples of a power greater than you? God. What else? Suppose you don't believe in God.
Oh, that's terrible.
When I first came in, I know he existed, but I didn't know him for myself. I didn't know him. So what else is a power greater than you?
Group of positive people.
Group of positive people, yes. What else is a power greater than you? Family. What else is a power greater than you? So what, Well, we admitted in the first step. So we're asking, came to believe that a power that's greater than me could restore me to soundness of mind, could help me identify what those stress factors are. What power greater than me can help me understand how alcohol and drugs is destroying my life? What's a power greater than myself? Research, information, right? It's a power greater than you, right? So that's why we're saying in the second step in that recovery principle, you're going to have to identify a power greater than you to help you navigate through this thing so you can be restored to soundness of mind. Making the right decision best for you. Don't go back to that broken relationship. Don't keep taking that son who keeps robbing you. Don't keep forgiving that guy who raped you. You know what I mean? Those things. How can you avoid those situations, those people? Restore you to sanity. A power greater than you can do that. Excuse me, could you get the door? Yes. Okay? Can you describe the characteristics of that power greater than you? How would you want that power greater than you to be so that you can be receptive to the information? So that you can be able to begin to trust, to begin to unravel, to begin to be honest. What characteristics would that power greater than you need to have?
To be non-judgmental.
Yes. What else?
Leading by example.
Leading by example. What else? Caring, loving, understanding. Nurturing. Not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. So I want that power greater than me, whether it be a group of positive people. So if I have a group of negative people, is that still a power greater than me?
Could be.
Huh?
Could be.
It is. Yes. And you said the key word, positive people.
Yes.
Because you've been hearing the other stuff all this time. Negative, negative, negative. So that was a power greater than you because you submitted, you humbled yourself to them, didn't you?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about recovery, when we're talking about free from recovery, emerge empowered, we're talking about a positive, loving, caring power greater than ourselves that can restore us to soundness of mind. How many believe in tough love?
I do.
Is that necessary?
Yes.
Because it's done out of what?
Love.
But some of us have to learn how to do that, how to receive that, even how to recognize it. And not feel like I'm being judged or criticized. Yeah. And the person giving it to you have to have some kind of understanding themselves.
Yeah.
I can't give you what I don't have. All our lives, we were given those things from people, from whatever, and look where it got us. But now, we admitted that stuff made my life unmanageable. I need something to restore me to soundness of mind, and I need that force to be loving and caring so I can get out of here and go over here. 12 recovery principles, okay? Recovery principle number 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, Creator, as we understood Him, her, or the force. I told you, I didn't come here knowing of a loving and caring God. That power greater than me was the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, my counselor, my therapist. They were a power greater than me. Yes. And I made a decision every day to go to them. I made a decision every day to go to a meeting. I made a decision every day because I saw that my life was changing and whatever. So what's the key word in this recovery principle?
Decision.
Before then. Made. We make decisions all day long. Do we not? Am I going to get up? Am I going to go to the bathroom? Am I going to pee in the bed? Am I going to, am I going to, am I going to what? I didn't want to go to the bathroom when I was a little girl because I was afraid I peed on the floor. We made a decision. Am I going to hit the alarm clock? Am I going to work? All day long, we make decisions. And what are we deciding to turn our will and our lives over to? How many go to work? How many used to go to work? Did you make a decision every day to go to work?
No. Most days.
Huh?
Almost every day.
Huh? But I'm glad. But you still had the choice, didn't you?
Yes.
And so what we needed to find out, what was the underlying, this thing good my notes. What was the underlying motive for you to make that decision?
Want to eat. Want money.
So listen, if we admitted that our lives had become unmanageable, that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to soundness of mind, do you think it's a good idea to practice making that decision to continue that path? Yes. Yes. All day long. Can you provide examples of who and how you make a decision to turn your will and life over to? Who do you make a decision during the day to turn your will and your life over to?
God.
Okay. Did you always believe that?
No.
Who before God? Who was
Myself.
it? Yourself. Before you became known of yourself, who did you make that decision to turn your will and your life over to?
Family. Yeah.
Huh?
Peers.
Huh? Peers. Yes. Huh? I always think about a little baby who instinctually have that instinct to look up through their mother's eyes, but their mother's eyes. And they're looking unknowingly to them, but instinct said, I need you, care for me, change my diaper, feed me, So that mother is loving and caring. So you turn over to the care of. When you say the care of, care, not to the destruction of. Destruction of turning out will was the man who keep beating me. The man who kept raping me. I was making the decision to turn my life all over to him. To the drug dealer, to the alcohol, to all that. I made a decision, so making decisions is not new to me. But when it says to the care of, who's going to give me tough love? Who's going to nurture me? Who's going to discipline me? Who's going to do that? Not enable me. Not co-sign my stuff.
Right.
Who's going to tell me the truth?
Yes.
Who's going to, check this out, not even tell you what to do? Why is it not telling people what to do is a good thing?
So they can make their own decision.
And what else? They ain't got to blame you. They ain't got to blame you. Because guess what? The answer is already within everybody. The answer to everything is already in each and every one of us. We just need the help to find out what happened to us. Yes. And we need outside help or other people, a power greater to me than to help me navigate that. And I want to practice making that decision. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So look, recovery, principle 1, something made my life unmanageable. What is it? Let me put that down and let me figure out what happened to me to make me pick up that drink, pick that man, pick that thing, go back. Let me find out what was in here that extended out here to do this. Instead of, let me go inside. But you're not going inside alone, because that power greater than you is going to help you. And you're making a decision for that power to do that. You got me? That makes sense? Yeah. Okay. All right, so how important is making that decision to you, and how often should you practice making that decision, and why? Talk to me. How important is making that decision to you, and how often should you practice making that decision, and why?
You should make it. It's critical, and you should make it daily.
Because it's doing what? It's healing. It's doing what? It's working. Huh? It's doing what? It's giving you some relief. It's doing what? It's helping you figure out. Huh? It's doing what? You're not going it through alone. You're not alone. Huh? And so, and the word is practice, because we are given self-will. I'm going to tell y'all right now, during my 30 years in recovery, there were times, and I could even do it today, there's times I'll tell God that I now know in the fellowship, I'll be right back. I'm going over here. I'm making the decision to go over there. I see what I want. I like it, and I'm going over there. I know what's wrong, but I'm going over there. How many of y'all do that? Know that is wrong, but you'll do it anyway. Knowing that you shouldn't eat it, but you eat it anyway. Knowing that you shouldn't drink it, but you're going to drink it anyway. Knowing you shouldn't, call out sick for work because you know you ain't sick, but you're going to do it anyway. Huh? Because self-will wants to do it. And guess what? Don't beat yourself up. Because you go over there enough times, and enough often, you'll get to eventually be totally humiliated, and you want to get some help. But as long as you think you got the reign and you got the control, we'll see you back in step 1. Because only you, me, can admit to ourselves, regardless of what other people see, that this thing is destroying you.
Can't do it by yourself.
Huh? That's why it says we. No man is an island, they say it. But how many of us try to go this thing alone and we're not equipped to go it alone? We didn't get into it alone, did we? Okay? So, recovery principle number 4. Made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. What does a more inventory mean to you?
What's right?
What's right, what's wrong?
Right.
What else? When did you first hear the word inventory? In what? In a store. Taking stock, right? Huh? Let's go back to something we can compare it to. So when you look at a store, they got potatoes over here, onions over here. They got things that are dated over there. They got things, you know what I mean? So they need to do an inventory if they want to stay in business. Well, we need to do a more inventory. We want to stay alive. And not just alive, but live a qualitative life. Not a quantitative life. I don't want to live the next 30 years and be just as miserable. I'd rather live 10 more years and be happy. Quality. That inventory helps you develop qualitative things in your life, not quantitative. So doing that inventory is like that store. What's inside this garbage can? What's inside this bottle that needs to be discarded, that needs to be turned up, that needs to be emptied out, that needs to be nurtured? And you need help with doing that. You can't do it by yourself. It's like that onion that this woman talked about the other day. We come into recovery like an onion, layered with so much stuff. Layered with so much stuff. We don't know what's at the core of that onion. We are all born with natural instincts, it says. But they exceed their intended purpose when we become greedy, when we become selfish, when we become liars and schemers and manipulators. Why? Because I want it all for me. I don't want to share. Well, how did you feel when that person didn't share it with you? What did you get against them? A resentment, revenge. I'll get you back. I'll show you. So that more inventory helped us to understand what happened to us way, way back. That's why they say in recovery, in order to find out what happened to you, you need to go back to your first recollection. So let's talk about that. Okay. So when you make this moral inventory, you're gonna now look in that trash can, right? What's good about the trash can?
Nothing.
Is what?
Nothing.
No. You didn't hear the question.
Okay.
Listen to the question. What's good about the trash can?
They empty out.
Huh? Okay? It collects out. It serves a purpose, doesn't it? It serves a purpose. Now, what's in that trash can determines on what we put in it or what others put in it. But in that trash can, isn't there a new bottle of lotion that somebody just threw away? That lotion could be used, couldn't it? I'm just saying, right? But it's in the trash can, right? Huh? But there's garbage over top of that lotion. But there's something good in that trash can. Huh? Somebody who is hungry, somebody who hasn't eaten, they go into that trash can and they pull out the sandwich. That trash can was good. It served a purpose. Out that trash can, that person got something to drink. See what an inventory does? It makes you look at the good and the bad. So that in that store, you can see what's outdated, what needs to be removed, what needs to be replaced, what needs to be refilled, what needs to be discarded. Okay? And then this is the key. You go back to the earliest age of recollection. But how many of us can go back and remember at age 3? Not a whole lot. What happened that impact your life at age 5 that you can remember? What happened at age 5 that stands out in your mind? Huh? Starting school. What was that feeling like? Can you remember? Okay, so don't answer it, because that's what the inventory does. It helps you to go back and helps you to start processing and help you to start recalling what those feelings was and those memories was, what that action was, huh? Because you want to decipher that experience. You want to decipher it. Was you scared? Was you glad? Was you good about your dress, the new dress? You know, was you excited about meeting all these people? Was you afraid? Was you ashamed? Was you shaking like a leaf? Huh? Yeah. That's what I mean by each and everything that you recall, decipher that thing. Because it's going to provide you with information that's going to be used as a reference point later on in your life. But it's going to tell you what happened to you, good or bad. At 5, I had ambition. I wanted my dad all to myself. So I pretended acting like my mom. Maybe my daddy gave me attention. At 7, my sister was molested. Yeah. At 7, nobody knew it. She was molested. Yeah. I wonder what she felt like. What was she going through? And we used to tease her, call her pig nose, call her this, call her that. But we didn't know what happened to her. So do I have feelings about teasing my sister? Yes. I need to unravel that. I need to talk about that. I need to face that. I need to apologize for that. Because if I don't, I'm going to have regrets. It's going to eat me up. What happened at 10? What happened at 17? What happened at 23? I had an abortion. That's why I committed murder. I was a prostitute. And I chose death of that baby over life because I was afraid of what people might say about me. Took me 10 years to forgive myself. I felt as though whatever happened to me, I deserved. Because I took life. I needed to unravel that. What was the condition? What was the cause? Who was the player? Why was I evaluate, decipher that thing? Because if not, I can hold on to them grudges and that guilt, and it'll kill me. Understand? But getting into that recovery process helped me to say, Edwina, you only know what you know when you know it. What was your mindset? What was your motive? What was, what was going on for you to make that decision? I told you we make decisions all day long. All day long. But guess who has to live with that decision? Other people may have consequences or ripple effect, but you the one got to live with that decision. But how many of us, when I'm grown, I can do what I want to do. Yeah. How many people said that? Come on, at one time in your life. Yeah. I know what's best for me. Based on those decisions, that decision got me underneath that parked car at the age of 34. So how good were my decisions? How grown up was I really? Huh? Okay. So you get my drift, right? Yeah. So the inventory, you want to be able, you see this necklace? It's got an earring. And you want to take that defect, I don't care what it is, it may be resentment, and you want to examine it. Who was it? Where was it? What happened? And then after you do that, oh, it's in a circle. Where did the circle come from? You know what I mean? You're deciphering it because you need to be prepared when you see this earring again. If you don't examine it, this earring is going to pop up and it's going to catch you again. Being prepared for things yet to come. Okay? All right, let's keep moving. What time is it?
4:45.
Okay. So, this is an example. Anybody got to go to the bathroom? Anybody need a break? You go to the bathroom. We're going to keep talking. Good. So, listen, y'all. Recovery principle 4 says this will be the first tangible thing that you're going to be actually writing with the recovery principles. The other 3 were concepts, ideas. I can't. A power greater than me can. I'm going to make a decision to turn my will and my life over. Those are concepts, ideas, acceptance. But when we talk about actually putting pen to paper, when we actually talk about let's get this trash can out on paper, So, I'm going to give you an example. So, I was resentful. I had resentment. I had resentments against my mother. That inventory, well, what was the cause? She got my daddy's attention. How did it affect me? It affected my self-esteem. I didn't know at 5 years old I wasn't supposed to look like a 25-year-old. So when daddy said, get in your place, oh, I'm not good enough. Something's wrong with me. Daddy don't want me. It affected my self-esteem at 5 years old. So what am I going to think about other men? And how they going to treat me? Huh? What part did I play in it? I became jealous of my mom. I didn't like my mother growing up. I loved her, but I didn't like my mother. Why didn't I like my mother? Because she was getting daddy's attention. And that was my daddy. How many here were daddy little girls? Yeah, that's my daddy. I was resentful against my siblings. Why? Because they got what? Dad's attention too. Huh? What did it affect? My security. Daddy is not going to be enough for me because he got to give it to everybody else. I don't like my siblings because they're getting daddy's attention. No. So I'm going to start lying on them. I'm going to start telling on them. I'm going to start making them look bad. Huh? But what part did I play in it? I became manipulative. Yeah. See, to thy own self be true. Tell yourself the truth. You know I know, you know I know, you know I know, you know I know. You know I am. Yeah. Resentment against my dad. Although I loved the ground my dad walked on, I had a love-hate relationship with him because he was abusive. Right? What did it affect? My security? My self-esteem? Oh, I just shared this with my assistant today. I had the most horrible dream last night, or maybe this morning. As children, you want to protect your parent who's being abused, right? But you're little and daddy's bigger or the man is bigger. And even though it's 6 of y'all, if we all took a leg and an arm, maybe we could protect mom. But when that person is still so much fear in you, you won't move. And we had to be subject to watching her get abused. So both my parents are deceased. But guess what? That feeling in me through my inventory, I felt guilty because I couldn't protect my mom. Should I have felt guilty? I don't know. The reality is I did feel guilty. You can't tell me what I should or shouldn't have been. I feel guilty. You can't tell me how to feel. I feel guilty. That's what this inventory does for us. Be honest. And last night, through all these years, I had a dream that my dad was trying to hurt my mom. And he did something that probably would have killed her. But I took it out of his hand and I killed him. I said, you're not going to hurt her no more. I'll be 65 in December. This stuff happened when I was a child. So look, years later, after the recovery, and even not in my conscious world, but in my subconscious, I wanted revenge. I wanted to get him. But what I was doing was protecting my mom, even if I had to kill you. Yes. That's how deep these inventories go. That's how you got to clean this garbage can out. Okay? So you get the drift of the inventory, right? Okay. So always put in what the feeling is, whether it be resentfulness, jealousy, envy, you want to be whatever it is that's causing you to have bondage. State what the cause is, who it is against, what the situation was, how did it affect you, and more importantly, what part did you play in it? One guy said, I was raped as a child. What could I have possibly done to make that happen? And the guy said, nothing. Just the mere fact that you were there. That's the only part you played in it. You have nothing to feel guilty about. You just happened to be there. It's just that simple. Don't make it all complicated, because I didn't do anything, but I was just there. So now that I can have comfort in knowing that I didn't do anything, I was just there, I can move on. Okay. So, all right. Recovery principle number 5. I'm going to try to get through this a little more quicker. But I will share this with y'all. It says, admitted to God, whoever, it was years before I had acknowledged a God. It just was. Because the years of me being told he was a punishing God took time, and I had to continue to see it in my life. So, admitted to God ourselves into another human being, the what? The exact nature. What is the exact nature, y'all? What do I mean by exact nature? Let me help you. What is jealousy really camouflaged of?
Insecurity.
And what is insecurity camouflaged by? Lack of self-esteem. What is self-esteem camouflaged by? Huh? Fear. I'm not going to get something. I'm not going to what? I'm not, fear of not getting something I think I deserve or what? Fear. That's the exact nature that's camouflaged by all that above. So when you work with people in recovery, we will help you get to the exact nature. Because if you don't get to the exact nature, all that stuff is going to happen again because you never got to the core. Yeah. What am I really afraid of? Not being enough for me, not being enough for myself, not measuring up to my parents, not being successful, what's the exact nature? Fear. So we have something in recovery that says face everything and recover. That's what fear is. Face everything and recover. Instead of funk everything and run. And they use a different word, that right? Some people who like it raw, they say something else. But I'm being professional today. Forget everything and run. How about that? Like that word, Ben? But in other arenas, I said what I need to say for them to get the gist of it. Yes, but I've learned to recognize my audience. Why is it important to admit to another human being?
You need someone to talk to. You need to be able to express it. And actually, I think it's good for you to hear it come out your own mouth.
Because whatever the force is, they already know, right? They already know.
Yeah.
So you ain't really hiding from nobody. You ain't really sneaking. You ain't really doing nothing. But there's something about admittance that allows that stuff in here to be freed and exposed so that we can shine a light on it. Because as long as you keep it in, it's going to keep you what? Sick, bound, chained. Yeah? So, is admitting to somebody uncomfortable?
Depends on
That's
who
what
you
it is.
admit.
Yeah.
Is admitting to somebody humiliating? Huh?
It can be.
Can be. But who are you doing the fifth step for?
Yourself.
Ha! You're doing it for you. How many times we were uncomfortable in that other life? How many times we were humiliated in that other life? Huh? Because we failed to admit. But now that we have these recovery principles, I need to admit this stuff. I don't care if it's a stranger. Huh? You want to empty it out of here for the sole purpose of getting to the exact nature. Okay?
Question.
Yes.
So even if it comes to repeating it, and it's like, oh, you already said that before. Don't repeat it.
Until you are freed. And then guess what? When you do repeat it, it's to help somebody else. You're doing it for you, but you're going to be used as a model and a coach to help somebody else do the same thing. Somebody going to want to feel comfortable enough to you to say, what's your name? Alicia, can I share something with you? And because you went through it, you understand what she's doing, the need for her to do it. You say, come on, baby. We're going to work through this. We're gonna cut down that tree to get to the root.
That's right.
So we can plant a new seed, new branches, a new tree. Okay? All right. What time is it? 3:58. Okay, good. I'm good. All right, so recovery principle continued. So, as the exact nature, and we said it here, jealousy was masked by insecurity, right? Not measuring up, right? Competition with my mom, right? Envy, right? Selfishness, right? And what's the last thing? Fear. Yes, that was the exact nature. Resentment against my dad. My siblings used to say, yeah, when you talk too much, you tattletale. You daddy's favorite. But see, I didn't know mommy told daddy a lie. And when daddy grabbed me and asked where did we go, I told daddy the truth. And when I told daddy the truth, daddy dropped me like a hot potato and went to beat up my mom. So now I'm afraid to tell the truth. Because somebody's going to get hurt. See how it comes back? Mm-hmm. So, tattletale, self-centered, selfish. I was jealous. I was manipulative. But basically, it was fear. Okay? So this is how you get to the exact nature. To their own self be true, y'all. Y'all know when y'all manipulative. Y'all know when y'all being jealous. Y'all know. And I know this. Recovery principle number 6. Now this is separate the men from the boys and the girls from the ladies. We're entirely ready to have God, as we understand him, remove what? All these defects of character. What are defects of character? What are they?
Lying, cheating, stealing.
Not true to yourself.
Sitting.
Okay. Good. So we are born with what? Natural instincts, right?
Fear and anger, I need to remember.
Okay. So, but we're born with natural instincts, right? For survival, for procreation, for security. They become defective when the natural instincts far exceed their intended purpose. when natural instincts exceed their intended purpose, your character becomes defective. So we're asking this power greater than us, this God or whoever, to help get rid of all those defects of character so that we can practice getting back to our natural instincts. Wouldn't you want all those character defects taken away? Huh? For the purpose of being prepared for things yet to come. You think this creator who has a destiny for you, a purpose for you, wants to carry you forward with all these defects of character? I'm asking.
He will.
I mean, he will, but do you think that was his purpose?
No.
No.
His purpose is to become selfless. His purpose is to become of service to others. Yes. Okay? And so I want all those things that have far exceeded their intended purpose to be removed. Because if recovery is being prepared for things yet to come, those things can't go with me. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if anger is a character defect, which is now used to the extreme, and then it's a character defect, do I want it totally removed so it can be repaired, or do I want it balanced? What's the answer?
Tell me what you want. The answer is in you. What do you want?
I would rather have it balanced.
Balance.
Yes.
Our creator got angry, didn't he?
Yes, it did.
Huh?
Yeah.
Balance is the key word. You don't want it to far exceed its intended purpose. Sometimes anger is a method of survival. Huh? It's learning how to respond and not react. And that 12 and that inventory is going to help identify why you're so angry. So yes, you creating balance, and because it's a human emotion. But if it far exceeds its intended purpose, then it's defected. And that's all we're asking him to remove, that part which is defected. Okay? Let's move on. Now, suppose, what's your name, sir?
I'm Joseph.
Joseph. Suppose your anger. You work these 12 recovery principles. You got your anger under control a little bit. And then somehow, some way, I don't know, you woke up on the wrong side of bed, your stomach hurt, whatever, and you went from 0 to 90. And that anger came shooting out. But you thought you had it what? Under control. So you're going to get some life experiences that are going to challenge you, to see where you really are. And guess what? We have a recovery principle for that too. So when that happens, we use this principle. Humbly ask him to remove where I fell short in that anger. That makes sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. That you're asking him that I'm not over jealousy 100%. So when I found myself getting jealous, help me to remove that. Help me put it into perspective before it takes over me. Help me. You're asking that power greater than you to help you. And if you're receptive, if you're open, if you're willing, you'll get the help that you need. Sometimes right in the midst of. You remember that recovery principle. Okay? Now, principle number 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. So, let's think about it. When you were suffering from drug addiction, alcoholism, cancer, domestic violence, rape, molestation, whatever, while you were in your stuff, did you hurt anybody? Did you say some wicked things to people? Did you disregard people? Did you treat some people bad? Did you ignore some people? Did you blame some people? What's the answer?
Yes.
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 Yes. Even though you hurt yourself, but people are around you. You have caused harm to people. People with addiction. I robbed my mom of my sleep. I robbed my children of nurturing and caring. I stole from my job. I lied to the IRS. Huh? I hurt people because I was in my stuff. So if I want to be totally free and empowered, I need to list those persons I had harmed. Not only list them, what was the cause? How did I hurt them? Did I steal this TV? So the best way to make an amends is to do what?
Apologize.
No.
Confess.
No. Give him his TV back.
Oh.
Or buy him another one. Huh? That's what's going to make that amends. Suppose he's dead.
Yeah, suppose.
You buy that TV for somebody else and give it to them. Suppose you broke somebody's fence, right? You help them mend that fence back together. Suppose in our addiction, like I did, I messed with married men. Huh? Am I going to go back to that woman and tell her I'm out? No, I'm not. Because that might cause more harm.
Right.
So how can I make that amends? If I stop doing it. Go ahead, my what?
Don't do it anymore.
Don't do it anymore. So you can make direct amends and you can make indirect amends, but you're making the amends. You are freeing yourself. Do you understand? You're freeing yourself. The mere fact that you are in recovery and getting these recovery principles said, I want to make amends to me. I want to heal. I want to make amends to me. Because when you learn to make amends to yourself, you can learn to make amends to other people. Do you hear me? When you stop lying to yourself, you stop lying to other people. When you're honest with yourself, you can start practicing being honest to other people. Do you hear me? It starts with self. But you are being empowered and given something to give to somebody else. Just like on the other side, all that negative stuff you got, they gave it to you, didn't you? How many of us said, I'll never be like my dad or my mom, and wound up being like your dad and your mom? Huh? Being in recovery right now can help you break the cycle. I don't care if you're 17 or 97. What I couldn't do for my children, I now do for my grandchildren. Because I got better. But I made that list of those who I had harmed, and I became willing to make amends to them all. It's freeing. You don't want to walk down the street looking over your shoulder. Am I going to run into John? Am I going to run into Mary? You want to walk across the street? You're running. You're not facing. You really don't want to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to make us go back to that life that we left. Do you hear me? No power, no situation, no person should be given that power ever again. But the only way you can do it is applying these 12 recovery principles. Because you're freeing yourself to be empowered. Huh? Okay.
Question.
Yes.
How do you make amends to children? I heard you say you do for the grand that you couldn't do for the children. How do you make amends with the children who are still angry, bitter, even though you're recovering? Angry, bitter.
I got you.
Yeah, holding stuff.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. After a while, because we're human, and this thing is called a process, initially we're going to feel that guilt. We're gonna feel that burden. We're gonna feel responsible. Yes, right? But the longer we apply and stay in this recovery principle modality, we will realize that now I am leading by example. That I can't go back and fix that, but I can become that role model now. You have every right to feel that way. You have every right to feel that way. I felt that way with my parents, and look where it led me. But look where I am now, and guess what? What I needed to recover, you'll need to. But all I can do is lead by example. Yes. You don't want nobody to hold you hostage. Even though rightfully so, even though you did what you... Let me tell y'all something. I almost sold my daughter for drugs and my addiction. My children today still are wounded. Educated, my son's a doctor, my daughter has her own company, whatever. They are yet wounded in other areas of their life. I'm the one in recovery. They've been exposed to recovery. We've been to counseling. We wrote letters. I did all I could do. But I'm not going to let you continue to hold me hostage.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
I'm going to do what my mom did for me. Pray for you and let you go.
Amen.
So that you can find your own way.
That's right.
I'm not giving you, them, her, no more power to make me go back to their life.
That's right.
Blame me all you want. But I'm in recovery. I'm leading by example. I'm applying these principles. I'm getting better. And I say that the opportunity is there for you too. And do it with love and a smile. And keep it moving. All right? So good question. But you see why the list is important. Because we don't want to walk through life looking over our shoulders. We don't want this gnawing thing in us that, I don't care whatever your secrets. I don't have any secrets, y'all. I don't have any secrets. I know the value of getting rid of it, even if I got to tell a stranger. You understand? Because she already knows. I already know. But it's something about getting that out to another person. Yes. Okay. So, we identified who we need to make the list, but we also begin to make the amends. We provide, I just gave y'all some examples of making the amends. Some indirect and some direct, but there's no excuse not to make the amends. Somebody did write a letter. What you didn't do for your children, do for your grandchildren or somebody else's child. You stole a TV, the person is dead, buy somebody else a TV and donate it. Huh? Change the behavior. Stop messing with married men. Stop going to the whatever. Huh? Change the behavior. And the mere fact that we are in recovery, we begin to make amends to ourselves. And when we begin to make the amends to ourselves, we'll see the benefit and the need to make amends to other people because it's freeing. Okay? Now, remember in the fourth step, we talked about that inventory? We made a certain and fearless more inventory of ourselves. What's good, what's bad, huh? Now, in those first 9 steps, we saw the benefit of admitting a power greater than ourselves, making a decision to help to give that power, influence over our lives. We made that inventory to get to the exact nature of our wrongs, okay? We became entirely ready to have this God or higher power, to remove those defective characters. When we fell short, we asked that power to remove that shortcoming. We made a list of persons we've harmed from way, way back. I used to be abused, and I wanted to know what it was like to smack a child, because I was smacked. And when I was babysitting a child, I smacked her. I can admit that to y'all, because I'm freed. But that's how deep this thing goes. You want to do to others what was done to you, whether you want to admit it or not. So now the way I make amends to children, I embrace them, I love them, I hug them, I nurture them. But my own grandchildren didn't know I tap that little butt, do they? But in love.
Right.
But the motive was different. You understand what I'm saying? This is how real this thing gets. So if I can admit this to the world, it's going to help somebody. So you make amends, but you take this continued inventory, and it says, and when you were wrong, promptly admitted it. Why is the word promptly admitted it so important? If you were wrong, whether somebody played a part in it or not, what part did you play in? You only apologizing for the part you played in it. Why is it so important to immediately admit it?
Because it come back around on you.
Could come back around on you. You could lose sleep. You can start building that trash can up again. You want to start holding resentments again? You want to go through the whole thing again? Just let me get it off, because you see the value of promptly admitting it. You see the value of, look, I ain't worried about what you're going to say about me. Listen, I said to this lady the other day, we was going through something. I said, ma'am, let's just squash this thing. I want to apologize for the part that I played in this broken down relationship. Would you please forgive me? You know what she said? No. I'll think about it. I said, well, ma'am, that's fine. I did my part. And when you feel as though you want to forgive me, you let me know. And I walked away with love. Had I not been working on these recovery principles, I could have said, what? No, baby, I'm not going to give you that power.
That's right.
I did what I needed to do. I said what I needed to say, and it came from the heart. But it was not contingent on how you responded. It was based on what I was willing to do for me. Yes, ma'am.
If somebody is in recovery and you feel as though they've done something to you, could you ask them if they did?
Yeah. Do you expect the truth?
Yes.
Are you going to get the truth?
I don't know. Right.
It goes back to, is it going to cause harm? Huh?
Is it? That's what I'm asking.
It could. But listen to what you're asking. So let's turn it around. Okay. And let's put you in it.
All right.
Suppose you did something to somebody. Somebody came to you. And regardless, and they say, did you do that? What you going to say?
I can admit it and say why I did it.
100% of the time? All the time?
At this point now, I feel like, yeah, I can admit my wrongs.
Had you always done it?
No.
You had to get to that point, did you not?
Yes.
So who's to say that the person who comes to you to ask you, you ask them that where they are in that process?
You're not ready.
So you can't expect them to be totally honest if they're not in that process.
Okay, I just wanted to know if I could ask them.
You can ask it. Oh, honey, yeah.
I mean, but would it?
The truth. You don't know.
But would it put them back in the? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
And guess what? You wouldn't know.
Should I not ask that?
Listen. You know when they say, when a child asks a question, they're ready to be told. If they can ask the question, they're ready to be told. So if you're ready to ask the question, you can ask the question.
Okay.
Now, the motive, the reason, are you doing it to trigger them? Are you doing it for your own recovery? Or what is your motive?
True.
What is your motive? If your motive is pure, then you let go and let God. If your motive is anything other than that, then don't ask the question. To examine your motive. And your motive becomes pure the more you practice these recovery principles. You understand? Sometimes it's best not to know. Sometimes it's best not to ask. Why? Because we in recovery are 5% of the total population of 100%. So we're dealing with 95% of dysfunction. And we the 5% that are in recovery. Right. So do you think that we are going to have power over that 95%? No. What will we have power over and with help ourselves? Yes. You have a question?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you
Okay,
did.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, well, if you let me know. You had a question, a statement?
Well, I thought you asked what would we have power over and with what else? I'm thinking we have power over self to some extent and with God's help.
Yes,
That's my perspective.
yes. Because guess what? You are no longer relying on your own resources. You have acknowledged a power greater than you. Do you understand? So when you acknowledge a power greater than you, you are not doing it alone. So that's why we, the 5% of this 100%, we're the 95% of cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. That's why I'm presenting these 12 recovery principles to everybody. Everybody need help. And this is my beginning, right? So taking that inventory. Now, you can do a spot check inventory. How many of us says, hey, and then you say, damn, why did I say that? That wasn't nice. That's a spot inventory. So, with that in mind, just as quick as you said it, how soon are you going to correct it?
Right away.
You should correct it right away, based on this thing, right? Now, suppose you decided not to, and you go on your day, but it's still what? It's still bothering you, right? All right, so then you say, well, maybe I'll pick up the phone. Maybe I... Then you say, no, she deserved it. Then you go to bed. You still what? Can't sleep. Hands, right? Conviction. Because you know what it tells you to do, what it suggests you to do. So take the suggestion. All right, I ain't going too nice without no sleep. Look, girlfriend, look, Holmes. I'm sorry for the part I played today. Here's this back, here's that back, here's my apology. And you get it off your chest. And you leave it there. Now you can sleep. But recovery says, be prepared for the answer. Not expect the answer, but to accept the answer you're going to get. That make sense?
Yes.
Accept the answer that you're going to get. Just like that lady say, I'm not going to forgive you. I'll think about it. That's okay. It's okay. That's okay. I did my part.
Right.
I apologize for the part I played. Exactly. Yeah. Because we don't want to give anything or anybody that much power ever again. Not to drink anymore, but to steal our serenity, to steal our peace, to steal our joy. To be mad at you and I go home and kick the dog. I go home and beat the kids. Why? Because I'm mad at you. Let me squash that. Not by gossiping, not by... Go to the horse's mouth. You want to know something? Go to the person who said it. You want somebody to say something? Tell them to come to you for the answer. Yes. So you see why taking that continued personal inventory on a daily basis help you to not go back, to help you not refill that trash can, to help you continue to grow. Okay? A couple more minutes. What time is it?
22.
Okay, good. Recovery principle number 11. It says, so through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, y'all. Look. It's your thing. It's your God. We just hope that it's loving and caring and provide discipline, provide tough love, you know? But why does it say to improve our conscious contact with God? Praying only for knowledge of His will and the power to carry it out. What decision did we make in step 3? Made a decision to do what? Turn our will and our life over to what? So in step 11, so He has brought us through 1 through 10. We've seen the rewards. Wouldn't you want to improve that relationship? Wouldn't you want to know more? Wouldn't you want to embrace that thing? Because it's helping you, it's making you grow. He's showing you, he's giving you power to withstand the questions or to accept the question, to not go over there, to resist the temptation, to acknowledge the triggers. Don't you want to improve that conscious contact? Yes. And guess what we're praying for? Knowledge of his will. And what? The power to carry that out. And guess what? You'll find out through these recovery process. Your will and God's will can align side by side. He has a destiny for you. You should want to know what that destiny is. If he gave it to you, then you should ask that power how to get there and the power to carry it out. I ain't trying to get into all that logic and all that BS. If the Creator gave you a destiny, a purpose, wouldn't it behoove you to improve that conscious contact with the one that gave that to you so that you can improve that relationship so that you and his will and your will can work in alignment to fulfill it? I would want that. Because over there, they was trying to give me another destiny and it wasn't theirs to give. You understand? I wasn't created for that. But he allowed me to go through that. And I'm going to choose you, to bring you out. So that I can use you and prepare you, not to just help you, but to help somebody else. Amen. Do you hear me? So why wouldn't I want to improve that relationship? When you talk to your children, don't you want them to keep coming back and being honest with you? Didn't you wish that you had that with your parents? My grandchildren can come to me. I couldn't do it with my children, but my grandchildren, look, I tell it like it is. I tell them the truth. Because I'm getting it from my God. If the truth is going to set me free, I need to give them the same information to help them be set free as they journey through their destination. Okay? Last one, I left it blank. It says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these recovery principles, we tried to carry what message? What message? What message? Your message? Your message? My message? What message? Those messages. Those recovery principles. That's the message. Do you hear me? Those are the messages. And each one get to apply their situation, circumstances, using the same recovery principles. That's the message. That all of us can heal to some extent using these 12 recovery principles. Regardless if you're dealing with cancer, domestic violence, substance abuse, suicide attempts, rape, molestation, right? And then it says to practice these principles where? In all our affairs. So if we are the 5% and we're going outside to the 95% of the world, do we need to practice these 12 spiritual recovery principles with this 95? Yes.
With the whole armor.
Hey!
With the whole armor.
So this is another way of saying putting the whole armor of recovery on. Huh? Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so having had a spiritual awakening, this is just a vehicle, y'all, remember? What spiritual principles are going to come through you now? Opposed to the spirit of jealousy, envy, manipulation, selfishness. Those are all spirits that goes through this vessel. Or do I want to practice a spirit of forgiveness, of selflessness, and, helping somebody else? Fruit of the spirits, yes. Huh? That's what I want to go. That's where I want to attain to. Okay? So that's the 12 recovery principles that I wanted to offer to you, and you, and to the world.
Thank you.
I'm glad I was able to answer some questions along the way. It's 4:30 now, am I correct?
Yeah.
So are there any last minute questions Any statements? Any input? Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that this is part of the 12-12 program and it's out of Wilmington, Delaware area. Do they have a 12-12 program anywhere else in Delaware?
So what you're saying is the safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
They do have other safe havens. Yes. They do.
How do you find them?
You will call the AA hotline, the NA hotline, the Overeaters Anonymous hotline.
I know of Overcomers.
Yeah.
Overcomers.
So there are some other recovery safe
those
havens.
are the same type of. When you look at Overcomers programs, that's the same type of. I know they use the same 12
Right.
principles. So it's just not 12-12. It could be any of those.
Exactly. Any of
Okay,
those.
because I know in,
Yes.
Dover they have Overcomers.
Yes. But the main thing is that you are putting yourself around positive people who are doing the same thing you are, trying to accomplish and overcome the same thing you're coming to. So put yourself around sane-minded people, opposed to what we were doing over here. In order to reach our destiny, these are the ones who are going to help get to our destiny using these 12 recovery principles. Yes. Any other questions or statements or comments? So let's go around the room real quick and say, what did you get out of this? Let's start with you.
I got a lot out of it. I got that I shouldn't ask any questions. I got that just take self-evaluation of yourself each and every day, and just try to be truthful to myself. More important, and be honest.
Everyone has a story, and I really believe that it's important for people to share their stories, because through your stories you help others. And I thank you for taking the time to do that, because I believe that we tend to keep things and not share. And where we are today is not where we were 15 years ago. And sometimes people see where you are now and they go, oh, wow. But if you tell your story, they realize they can come through it too. And the journey is all things work together for good. You just have to believe and then go through that process.
And you have to face everything and recover.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What about you? What did you get out of this whole process? Yes.
I can relate to a whole lot of things that you said, and I had a gambling problem, and I went to Gamblers Anonymous, and we went through the 12 steps, but I couldn't stay in the class. I kept going to the counselor, but the class was like, most of the people were still having the problem. And so I signed myself as a long Delaware gambler, but I had to stop gambling. And I see some of the things that I need to do to get the trash out.
Thank you. What about you, young lady?
I fear. I need to work on standing up for myself. Pretty much based off, like a lot you said, I see a lot of hurt and pain, and I try to protect. When I was trying to protect, I got in trouble for protecting.
Thank you. What about you?
Hi, I'm familiar with the 12 steps and the recovery program. I truly believe, and for myself, that everyone, not taking anybody's inventory, but everyone is recovering from something. And we, if we follow the principles, if we follow the steps, we can only, in an honest way, and apply them to ourselves, we can recover from whatever it is that we identify to be that problem that to where we are powerless over. And we can only mature one day at a time.
One day at a time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, Joseph?
I liked, when we walked in, I think you were talking something about, I guess, first step or so, or one of those steps, comparison between what's wrong with us or what happened to us. And I like that approach. I've done a lot of stuff kind of based on what's wrong with us, But what happened to us, I don't think we do enough of. I think that me and many of us have gone through a great deal of abuse, trauma, and it has left a great deal of scars. And it's taken a lifetime to unravel some of that stuff, that onion you talked about, that has to be peeled constantly. So it's a lifetime work, And I think that I need to be mindful. I often say this to a lot of people I work with, that there's really no graduation out of this process. You don't do this stuff 10, 5 years, and 15 years and think you graduated because you learn a little bit of something. It's a lifetime process.
Yes, it is.
And I guess the other thing that came to my mind was, I guess the stuff about the kids, I have kids and they're doing reasonably well, but some of them are still hurting, And I guess sometimes I kind of feel guilt and shame, like, am I doing enough? Can I do more? I have to kind of at some point get to a place where I'm doing the best I can.
Exactly.
I need not keep walking around feeling guilty. I need to live my best life. And my best life is not to do the stuff I did before.
Exactly.
And to move on forward.
Exactly.
And trust God.
Sometimes even though, if you don't mind me saying,
Don't mind.
sometimes,
You
your
want my
children
kids? You want my
know.
kids?
your children know that you're trying and you're doing better, but they try to guilt you too and to make you feel better. As long as you know that you're, like Edwina said, you're putting your foot forward and you're doing the best that you can do, and you apologize, you can't do no more than that.
And see, you also, recognize when I did that inventory, I told you about the resentments I had against my people, right? And how I became manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to make my mom feel guilty, I would say, if you didn't do this and do that, trying to make her feel guilty. But at the end of the day, I had to forgive my mother. I had to forgive my dad, right? Not for them, but for me, because I was wrong, because it wasn't until I went back and asked them, what happened to you, mommy? What happened to you, daddy, to make you that way? What happened? Because recovery taught me, try to understand than to be understood.
Right.
So that I can get rid of that resentment. That was only keeping me sick, not nobody else. What did you get out of this session?
I enjoyed all of it, but most important to me was the onion. And when you went back, I know in my recovery for my mental health, I always go to a certain time. But it wasn't until you had the ages, and I didn't realize until sitting in the chair, I didn't go all the way back to 5 years old. And I realized at 5 years old, wow, there were some things going on there at 5 years old. So that was powerful for me. I am a certified recovery coach, and so I speak with people every day. But that has helped me greatly, just for me.
Good. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's what I learned from this session is that it doesn't matter if you say negative thoughts to you. It's not easy to just let it go.
Good. And it's not. And that's why we have help available to help you practice letting it go. Okay.
It's time. You stop this on.
Chase time.
To the young lady in the front,
Yes.
listening is very important.
May I have your attention, please? The teen loft will be closing in 5 minutes. The second floor in the Capitol room will be closing in 10 minutes, and the library will be closing in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Probably at the moment, that's why I asked Cindy for assistance, because each day is hard for me. So watching certain things, talking about certain things, I realized too, I was waiting for people to come to me versus me inventory for me was, I secluded myself, assuming that everybody knew that I was hurt or what I was going through. I assumed a lot of things. So each time that I'm doing my inventory, I'm discovering something each time, each day, each moment, from all of the different traumatic things. But the most important thing is writing it down. Is my way of speaking. Because a lot of times you can't say out loud to someone initially, but letting it out has helped. And then I've learned that it was okay to talk to her. And when I talked to her, there was no judgment, but understanding. But I had to find that replacement of all the negatives that I had to fill myself with that one positive. And I started learning how to ask the right questions. And if I wasn't asking the right questions, what do you think that I should be asking?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say in closing, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Just like we are presented with an onion and we begin to unravel, this process is going to begin to fill us with new layers of onions. Even though that onion has a smell, but it's a beautiful art of work. You know what I mean? And when we begin to acknowledge that we are a gift, this is a gift, and it's free. It's free, y'all. Doesn't cost anything. These 12 recovery principles don't cost anything. It's free. So when you talk about asking questions, this process, when you go through the recovery principle process, you want to identify, because I teach anger management and I teach time management skills and all that. When you want to ask a question, you want to make sure the time is right. You want to make sure the atmosphere is right. You want to make sure that person is, somewhat approachable. So there's a lot of things you need to process before you jump out there and ask the question. Yes. And so, you had something to say before we close? We got 5 minutes to get out of here.
No, I was just saying, this really has opened up my mind to a lot, because when you say the 12 steps, I always thought it was just about Alcohol Anonymous or people on drugs, but it helps everybody through every, and thank you for everything. There's so many things that I have been through in my life, and it did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, dear.
I wanted to say to the gentleman, I was an imperfect mother, imperfect daughter. I am an imperfect child. But I tell my kids all the time, I don't care, I'm your mother. If I'm wallowing in the gutter, you have to learn to respect me. And the things I did that hurt you, I'm sorry, but I'm always told to tell me the truth. And after they got grown, they try to tell me things, and they still won't come out and say exactly what they are. But I tell them, I said, you know what? I always told you to tell the truth to them. And if you don't, I can't change what I did,
May I have
but
your
I can
attention,
be
please?
better.
The team loft is now
That's
closed.
all you
The
got.
second floor in the Capitol room will be
Can't
closing
make
in 5
everybody
minutes,
happy.
and the library
You
will
gotta
be
do
closing
what
in
God
10
wants
minutes.
you to do.
Please make your way to the
Amen.
first floor and then text.
Let's give everybody a hand.